All fun and games!
Hi friends, season 3, episode 1 of All Fun and Games, and I tell you, they throw the term legend around pretty loosely these days, but here's a bloke who sold a couple of million records, ARIA Hall of Fame, and has now been in All Fun and Games with me. So, you know, your career is complete, Joey. Thanks
I'm done.
Thanks, yeah, you've
Good
made
night,
it.
everybody.
Yeah,
Good night.
You can relax.
How are you?
I'm all right. What do you like at uni?
I'm not bad. You know, somehow my daughter seems to manage to sort me out.
Okay.
But,
So you've had a bit of practice going in?
well, yeah, I've had a few thousand hits at it.
Well,
What do you like?
we'll have another go. I'm okay, same again.
Yeah.
All the work with the kids. You go
Yeah,
first. So, mate, because you were born in Malta
Yeah.
and you're one of 10 kids. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm one of 10, 3 of 10. I'm the needy one, you know.
It's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, you know, we were top to tail for, I don't know, I was smelling cheese for about 5 or 6 years, I reckon. You know, so if you get
It's a good name for an album.
smelling cheese. Well, you know, if you're top to tail and there's 6 girls, 4 boys, so you got like here's the wacky thing, you know, we had our cousin as well stay with us. The worst thing about families like that, and the best thing, is you do things like you go rabbit hunting, or you go, you know, you got ferrets, right? Your backyard is full of vegetables and ferrets. And
Is this in Australia by now?
You know, sort of Port Melbourne,
Right, okay.
the neighbourhood, you know. So what normally, so you go, you know, you go somewhere and your dad takes you out in this, you don't realise how slow those cars were in the 50s, right? Sort of an Austin Minor or something, there's 8 people in it, you know. So you're better off going for a push, right? So you're sort of doing this, and then you take the ferret, you'll get the rabbits home, and then they become your buddies, you know. They don't, all of a sudden it's, you know, it's on the table. That's kind of freaky, I reckon. That sort of freaked me right out. You know, you have pigeons and they become, my mum was good at cooking that stuff, you know.
Right. Cooking pigeons.
Cooking.
Jesus.
Well, you know, because there was lots of them. And of course there was, and there was a certain kind of brotherhood, you know. My father's friends all had pigeons, and they would have, they're homing pigeons, so they have little messages and all. It's kind of was all around Carlton, all around that area, you know.
Wow.
So they're the sort of things I remember. I also remember is it my shot?
You'll go, yeah.
My dad would make a bit of moonshine. Hey,
You know.
what does that mean? That means I can do.
Oh, you might bring out the big guns now.
Oh well, I don't know. Can I do that?
Yeah, then it's your go.
Still my go.
Yeah.
Then I can do that,
And then it's still your go.
and then I can do that.
And now I'm in trouble. I reckon you've just won, you know, mate.
I don't know. Can I throw any card?
You
I
can throw
like?
any card now, mate. Jeez, we're done.
Ba, ba,
I'll
boom.
rack them up again in a minute. 1-0. Moonshine.
Yeah. Well, so he'd make grappa and stuff, and I got pretty pissed on that one night. You know.
Right.
I was
Aged
only
what?
about 9. I was slipping and a sliding.
Right.
And I had a lot of hair then, and it would just go. My head felt like it went, bing, you know. And I think I threw up, and I don't even think it was ready, you know, because it takes a while to get that. And I think grappa is really, it turns out to be really hardcore, you know. You know, so I just have fond memories. Well, they're fond memories now.
Yeah.
You know, but when you were kind of, my mum, for instance, was a really good shot. She had a good throwing arm, right? So she could hit me.
If one of the 10 kids was
she could hit
just
me
out of
with a
line.
rolling pin at, you know, 20 paces, easy on the back of my head, no problem. And so, like, I've got 5 kids right now, and I'm kid gloves. Can't do anything, right? How do you solve problems in the 50s? You know, you just walk into a slap at the back of your head, right?
Yeah.
And things like, this is what I say to my kid, what would you like, darling? You know, these are your choices. I'll be your slave, right?
Mate,
Over
I
there, it's
understand.
kind of like.
Which is better?
I think it's better not to have a choice because there's less wastage. And to be honest with you, but of course, you know, it's a first world problem, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're up. It's a first world problem. I think you want to give your kids, now that's a dirty trick.
Yeah.
You give your kids the things that you didn't have, you know. So,
Oh, very natural. We're all battling with that as parents.
and it's hard, you know. And my parents came like migrants here on the £5 scheme, you know.
What year was that?
I came and I was here in 1950.
Right.
I kind of landed in Port Melbourne in 1950.
Right. So you're quite young. You're 2 or 3.
I
or
was
something?
2 then, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've been here a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you know your way around.
I know this area pretty well because we moved in this area when I was about 12, and but mainly we spent the first 10 or 12 years in Port Melbourne, Carlton, and Fitzroy. You know, so it was kind of it was an interesting time because you know, you don't realise what your parents do, right? I kind of miss my parents a lot, but you don't realise the sacrifice, right? They kind of they knew that wherever they went, you know, they had a choice of going to 3 or 4 different places, but they chose Australia because they knew that's where it would be best for them to have their children and live their life, you know. So, and they had no desire to go back. I mean, they went back for a holiday to see their friends, but you know, this is where they're buried. This is where they wanted to be.
Yeah.
This is kind of they gave us that opportunity, and you don't appreciate those kind of sacrifices until they're gone. You know, it's like you never miss the sun until the rain begins to fall, kind of situation. You're shot.
Hold on. It's yours.
I just picked up.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
How dare you?
I need to pay more attention
Pay
there.
a little attention. This is real.
So why rock and roll? Like, why did this become your thing? How'd you end up here?
Well, you know, I've always said, for me, it was radio. Radio was king, right? So you got to remember, there's nothing. You know, all your friends have got. This is how it used to be. This is how it plays out. It's pretty much like a film set in the 50s, right? You've got your lounge room. You know, if you've got all my friends, you know, a lot of my friends only had only child or 2 kids or something like that. They'd have a piano, no TV, piano, get around a table, they all sing around the piano or something like that, and radio. The radio was there, you know. So, and to me, I just got interested in that. There were so many of us that nobody got the attention they deserved or they thought they might deserve.
Yeah.
So you kind of, I just got lost into the radio, and my mum was a music fan, and she'd buy a lot of records. Your shot.
Yeah, it's mine.
She'd buy lots of.
Just about to, you know.
Hey, that's kind of cruel.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to ruin your story. That's why I was. Yeah. So your mum was a music fan, and
Is that kind of? Yeah.
Oh, 1-1. This is good. Sorry, your mum was a music fan.
Yeah, she was a music fan. So what was kind of really good about that was I'm listening to all the music of the day. So 1950, 52, you know, there was Frankie Lane, Johnny Ray, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, that gang, you know, the Rat Pack plus. And then all of a sudden, kind of, I loved those records. I didn't know I loved the records, but all of a sudden there was music. There was this big shift, right? And it was the first really big shift between whether you as a child and your parents. Up to that point, you dressed like your parents. All of a sudden there was Elvis Presley, right? And he's wearing a purple shirt, right? And he looked like a gangster, a rock and roll gangster, you know, most handsomest man in the world. Everyone wanted that do-rag that he had, you know, it was like a foot high, wasn't it? It just came, Pompadour was up there somewhere. So all of a sudden, the kids were there was this separation between generations, I thought, for the first time. And I thought music, from my perspective, I thought music brought that together, you know. And then, of course, you know, fast forward, all of a sudden, you're listening to all that stuff, right? And the radio is given, it's the only way you can get it. You finally get a little bit of that on TV. But the 60s hit, and there's this incredible explosion. You know, rock and roll has died a little bit. It's become Annette Funicello, you know, and it's become Fabian and those kind of guys. But we had a little bit more energy, and all of a sudden, you know, the British beat came into play. And that just, you know, that was the button that a lot of people pressed to say, let's start a band. You know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of started a band with my friends. It's kind of what you do. You're a player. You know, you just kind of start. You practice. I didn't play the guitar or anything. I tried to play the bass because I thought that only had 4 strings. It's kind of 2 strings better than 6 strings.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
Well, it is. That's true.
Hello to all our bass playing friends out there.
I'm trying to play. We're trying to play. I can remember you know, with we brought the gear. And no one knew how to play anything. The drummer just said, I like drums. I said, well, you be the drummer, right? You're the drummer. I'll buy a bass. I went to Sutton's and brought a Fender. I wish I had it now. You know, L series bass, right, for a couple of $100. That might have been a couple of £100 or something. Oh no, it wouldn't have been that much. That was you can buy a house for £100. So it was kind of one of those things, and I could sing better than the other guys, but I couldn't play and sing, you know. So I'm working at Australian motor industry, and I take the bass in there, you know. I'm working in the storeroom, and I'm trying to play Lucille on the bass, but I couldn't sing it and play it, you know, because it takes a bit of, and everyone's just saying, please, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, please shut this mother up, you know. It's just driving us crazy. And so I gave up the bass and I just started singing. I think it took us maybe 3 months to get 3 songs together, you know, Walking the Dog.
Right.
Oh Carol, I think, and Lucille. That was my net.
Okay.
But here's the thing with that. It was just a lot of fun because it didn't really matter, you know. So we had a baker, and he could play guitar a little bit, and he had a really good looking. I remember a really good looking cherry red Guild, you know, one single cutaway. I love guitars. I know all about these things, but now too much, annoying. Hey, listen, stop doing that. It's competitive, isn't it?
Going to blue.
You're going what?
Going to blue.
Why are you doing that?
The cherry red guitar.
Yeah.
I think we were talking. But no, it's
yeah.
well, it's just interesting because you're like reading through your resume. This is a question, by the way, but it's as if your career is almost in 2 distinct parts because you had Jojo Zepp and then Black Cyrus. It reads as if you made it twice. Is that what happened?
Well, I got a chance to ring the bell twice. Do I throw out?
You blew.
I did. I picked one up.
Oh, did you? Beautiful. Yeah, well, that's how it reads. So, I mean, did you get lucky twice, or are you just...
Yeah, no, I think...
Or are you just really fucking good?
Well, you know, I don't know about that. I think I'm better now than I was before. But I think, you know, most of this stuff is 90% ambition, right? Once you get a taste of playing in front of an audience, if that's your bag, and you kind of want to throw up, but you're kind of having the best time of your life.
Yeah.
It's you know, I guess footballers feel the same about these things, you know. But there's no other drug, you know. There's no narcotic that can sort of give you that kind of, that buzz, you know.
It must still be your bag then.
It's still my bag, yeah.
Because we're still here, because St George's Road is out,
yeah.
which is it is a Black Sorrows record, and I'm sure Black Sorrows fans are checking this out now. But it's your 50th record. So you must still, you say it's 90% ambition, you still must have that ambition if you're making 50 albums.
Well, it's your daily bread, isn't it? For me, it's my daily bread because I want to put something on a page. I want to work on a whole bunch of different things at the same time, you know. And this lockdown's been kind of interesting for me because I've got into myself a little bit in a different way, you know. I've never taken myself too seriously, and I'm quite happy to sort of just talk about anything that I know and share. I don't have any problems with any of those things. But I'm used to isolation. I think anybody that works on their own and writing songs and books and screenplays, acting, pretty much on your own all the time, you know. You're working towards certain things. So, but I kind of realised what I really loved about the things that I do, you know. I love performing because it gives me, I feel on stage, I'm just a slightly different guy. As soon as I stop selling CDs to people, I'm just that other guy, you know. I don't. It's just been, but it's the only time that I can't feel that I'm alive in a certain kind of way. The situation at hand now is that I will get up and do certain things that I normally wouldn't do. Music for about 20 years was about number 5 on my list of my top 10 things to do, you know.
Wow.
Now it's kind of not only my hobby, it's my life, you know. It's become a thing that I want to, I'm running out of time. You know, I'm 73 years old.
And you've only done 50 records, so
but here's the thing,
pick up the pace, mate.
Yeah, well, you know, we're born to die. So, you know, not to get morbid, we're sort of in this place. And so now I'm kind of really aware of what I need to sort of try to achieve. I haven't, St. George's Road for me, you know, I'm not trying to tell people anything about anything, you know, if they like the record, they like the record. But to me, it's kind of like this, it's like a mark. It's a new mark for me, where now I start. The record came out a couple of weeks ago, you know.
It's charting.
It's doing really well, but it's a start. It's where, what do I do now for the next 10 years? If I've got 10 years in me, what can I sort of really try to focus on, you know? And that's kind of the thing that I've picked up out of just hanging around waiting for the world to change.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, look, it highlights a number of things that after 50 records, you still have clearly a real sense of ambition and a sense of excitement and a sense of passion, which is, you know, really important things. Interesting one, though, you said about still selling CDs, and this is a great question because on platforms like this with other musos, particularly those that might have been around a little while, we talk about the changing nature of the industry, and we've seen the industry change dramatically. You've seen a lot of changes over time, which would be great to pick your brain over. But when you're making a record now, knowing that the way that record is going to be consumed is so different from how you used to do it, are you still making a record the same way? Are you still going, well, this is what I do, I'll just do it? And
yeah, that's all I can do.
Right.
I'm normally the guy who puts it all together, right? Me and Nick, I'm a two-headed insect. Nick Smith is my co-writer. And the way that he puts it, I need him more than he needs me. It's the end of the story. Yeah. And I agree with that probably 100%. But I'm the nuts and bolts guy. I go out, I produce the records, I find the musicians, normally the band. I'm a great believer that if the band that you have and you're doing 180 shows a year or something like that, you've got to give them a shot. Sometimes the music doesn't fit their style, but you've got to. They've done all the hard yards. You're first off the rank, you know. Yeah. I'm a great believer in that, so I do that. So, and then try and make everything as joyous as I can. Really nice thing about sometimes when it's not really answering your question, but sometimes about when you get someone else on board, and they take care of the nuts and bolts. All of a sudden, you're just one of the guys. You know,
Yeah.
you can be that.
You're just one of the dudes in the band.
Yeah, just the guy. I just
Yeah.
happen to write the songs, and we're and he deals with everybody's situation. And we do it exactly the same way as I did it when I remember. This is I think it's my 20th or 22nd album with the Black Sorrows or something like that. I'm not really sure. The first record was Sonola. We recorded Sonola in 4 hours. We played everything we knew.
Yeah.
That band played everything it had. We did 13 songs. That's all we had. You know,
Yeah.
none of them were. It was a covers record.
And this is 1980.
83. We
Right.
probably recorded in 82.
Right.
So it was a part of the Cafe Society band or situation. You know, a lot of bands were playing in cafes. We had a deal with AAV to they just got a new Harrison desk, you know, and the thing was just changing then. It went to sort of digital, but still, they gave us 4 hours for a certain amount of money. I don't know, $1,300 or something. We weren't even allowed in the control room.
Right.
Right? We cut that record, and someone was saying, I think it was Ross Cockle saying, "That sounds pretty good. Next." Good
enough.
That's how we recorded that album, you know. And the weird thing is, you know, I made maybe 35 albums since then.
Yeah.
The process is still the same. The platforms have changed, and
The platforms have changed a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen.
well,
you know,
it was one of the first industries to fall over.
Yeah.
I think Napster was the instigator of that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I've always believed that when you can burn a CD and it costs you maybe $1 at that time when Napster was, all of a sudden music became free. It wasn't like recording it on a cassette.
Yeah.
It was a different animal. And once you could put a vocal on a digital recording, everything was going to fall over, because all of a sudden everyone had everywhere was a recording studio.
Yeah.
It could be in your shed, it could be, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so it really fell over. No one knew the value of the music, you know, and the publishing and all those things. So your Sonys of the world didn't know what to do with all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, they were too late to react.
And too late to react. And it'll never happen, you know. I don't want to go into the Spotify world and how that plays out for artists, you know.
Yeah.
But one of the really nice things, which is kind of bizarre, well, two things. First of all, this lockdown has given the people a real understanding how much they need the arts in their life. You know, whether it's going to see, you know, a series of paintings, buying a record, hearing someone's problems in that world. They need it because it's a healer.
Yeah.
You know, music's a healer, and you don't even have cancer when you're listening to music. If you've got cancer, you know, it goes away, it comes back, but it gives you this freedom, and that's kind of one thing. The other kind of beautiful, it's kind of sexy really, is that vinyl has this incredible status, you know.
Yeah.
When I was doing the last 10 albums, I had all on vinyl, right? So, and it was 8 weeks to get to 8 weeks to get to Australia from Germany.
Right.
St George's Road, I've had it in the works for 20 weeks, and I don't get the record for another 3 weeks.
Yeah. Wow.
And what that says is that people do like the physical.
Yeah.
And it's a way of sort of presenting that in a certain way. And it's not, you know, fossils like me that are buying them. I'm buying them because, you know, can't help myself, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a habit for me, you know. But young kids are buying vinyl and they're having that experience, that wonderful experience of finding something that's you know, a gem in the rough.
Yeah.
you know, track 4, side 2,
Yeah.
is really what the band's about. You know, that gives you sort of an insight. I think that's you know, delicious.
Yeah. You have had, I mean, it's funny. We talk a lot with artists that might have been around 10 years or 15 years or whatever, who have seen the industry flip on its head, who they were selling CDs, and then iTunes came in, $1.69 for iTunes, the artist was getting 91 cents, and then they were paying everyone out. They thought it cannot get worse than this, and then it got way worse because music became free.
Well, that's right.
By Spotify. But you've seen vinyl to cassettes to CDs. I mean, you've seen all those transitions, right?
Yeah. Well, there's, you know, I am a salesman. You know, I do a gig. I'm out there before the sizzling of the cymbal is, the last sizzle is gone. I'm at the front saying, hey, listen, don't look me in the eye. If you're going to look at me in the eye, you're going to have to buy one of these CDs, right? And I'll be yelling it out. And I got over the embarrassment. There's a real beautiful thing about this too. There was a time when, you know, Harley and Rose sold 70,000 copies in one day, right?
Wow.
Now you can sell 1,200 copies.
Well, 70,000 was gold, wasn't it?
70 platinum.
Was it? Oh, 35,000 was gold and 70 at the
gold.
time. Yeah.
Now, I've heard stories that people have, this is on the ARIA charts, that people have sold 700 records and then #1 on the ARIA charts. So, yeah, we've all heard those sort of stories. So it just gives you a way of how, I'm explaining how people do get their music, you know. And that's okay, I think, from my point of view, because I'm basically an independent artist. Occasionally I get picked up by someone, but you've done all the legwork, you've done all the hard yards, you've you know, the cost is already is done. All those things are sort of taken care of. And sometimes someone might just like something about something, and they say, oh, we might release this. But pretty much I'm just releasing those records myself. So I want to sell you a record, but it's not about me selling you a record. It's about, if you have a listen to it, it's the only way that I can get, or one of very few avenues for me as an older artist, to get you to have a listen to this thing and say, man, this is a really good disc, you know, I'm really enjoying this. The other thing I was going to say about selling records to the general public or your audience, hostile as they may be, is they get to tell you something that you don't know. You know, there's always some kind of story, whether it's about meeting you sometime or whether it's what this particular song means to you. As a songwriter, you don't think about the greatest song you've ever written, because your next song is the Maserati, right? It's not about those things. You're just kind of working through your day, and you say, this one needs a bridge, that one needs, I don't know what to do with that one. I need a couple of lines for that. This one needs a lyric, you know. All these different things come into play, and if you're a songwriter or you're writing a book, all this stuff, it's not just about writing, I've got to write 1,000 words a day. There's nothing to do with that. It's just, sometimes the inspiration comes and you got to take it while it's there. Sometimes it just doesn't come. Sometimes it won't come. I've got ideas of songs that 10 years old, and I'll pick up the fringing guitar and I'll play that shitty little thing, right? Hoping that something will come. Yeah. You know. But what it does, what it's saying to me, is maybe that idea is going to give you that song, you know, but it's nothing to do with that. Yeah. It's giving you, you've picked up the instrument, you're playing the piano, whatever it is, picked up the guitar, you got bored with it, and all of a sudden you found something over here, you know. And that's kind of exciting, because you don't even know you're going there, you know. So there's all that, I know that all interweaves with selling records and stuff, but what I'm trying to get to you is selling records, being on the charts. You can be A1 on the jukebox, nowhere on the chart, doesn't matter. Fringing doesn't matter. What matters is that you rock up to the gig, whether it's 10,000 people or 30 people, and you come to play, and you say, "I'm here to play. I'm here. I want to ride the wave with you, but I need it. I actually need it. You know, I need it for me too. You know, so I'm not going to abuse that. You know, and that's kind of the getting back to what I learnt, you know, in lockdown. I realised then as well that, you know, it's very important, that feeling. Don't be consumed by the popularity of everything. You know, I've rung the bell, and you mentioned this. I rang the bell with Jojo Zepp, but I was the orange boy in Jojo Zepp and the Falcons.
Right.
I was the weakest link.
Is that right?
And I always believe you're only as good as your weakest link.
Okay.
Imagine if I was one of the the better guys in the band. You know, I just was happy. For me, I just had something in the songs that I was writing that was kind of a bit quirky, you know.
Right.
And then the Black Sorrows, you know, I started fitting into my pants a little better.
You mentioned Harley and Rose there, and there are a couple of songs there,
Yeah.
2 or 3 or 4 there. Is it your go or mine?
I don't know, man, but you're pulling the chain.
I'll go to try and win.
Yeah, I know, I think you are.
Songs like that, they are in that upper echelon of songs they're the background living in Australia. You know, they have been around. When you hear, if you walk into Woolies,
Yeah.
Chain to the Wheel comes on, do you sing along? What do you do?
No, I just kind of put my hat, you know, I'm normally wearing a hat. I just put that down. I think you've snookered me, you little rascal.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you haven't. I'll give you a little something.
Do you have a favourite then? Is there any of those where you just...
Well, there's some half-finished songs that I really like,
Right.
you know. Now, I like...
You know...
What does that
not
mean?
You know anymore. It means it was my go and I picked up, so it's yours.
So, what does that mean?
It's red.
Well, what happens if can I throw one of those? I never know what to do. Oh yeah, okay. I know what to do.
You know. I'm going to go blue.
Why would you do that?
'Cause I've got a blue card. You know.
I think. Can I throw that on it?
Maybe.
No.
What colour? Hold on. Tell me what colour.
No, I can't throw it on it.
I think you've got to draw 2.
I got
Unless
to pick
you've
2.
got to draw 2, which you'd put it on and make me draw 4.
No, I haven't got that. I was trying to kill you in a sweet, lovable way.
Yeah, no, we're just talking about...
Oh, yeah. Well, my
so
favourite-
your favourite's yet to come then, is it?
I think there's always, you know, there's...
Green, you know.
Well, that's... now I can throw that on it.
You can, and probably don't make it green.
That's right. I'm going to make it yellow.
Sure. Hold on. Yeah, no, that means I'll have to go, does it? You know.
Was that
It's getting serious now, isn't it? I think it's 1-1 too.
Yeah.
That's you again, I think.
Okay. Well, yeah, that is me. So this is where my little Aurora always kind of has me.
How old is she?
She's just turned 10 now,
Wow.
and can I throw that on it now?
Yeah, you can. And
Cheeky little monkey.
I mean, if you want to be like that, I suppose.
I can't help myself. But yeah,
one
I love "Hold On to Me" as a song. Now I wrote that with Nick in 1986 or something. It's kind of a little bit unfinished on some levels, but it's perfect, you know.
Wow.
I always think that there was more in it, but the recording of that song. Forget about the lyric content, just for a little bit. The recording of that song was so joyous, and I happened to have Lucky Oceans, who lives in Perth, was in Melbourne, and he played pedal steel on that, and the outro on that song just every time that comes on, I don't listen to, you know, like I hear it on the jukebox or something, on the radio or something. When I hear his outro, he gets about a minute, which is kind of rare for a single to have you know, it happens occasionally, you know, like Hotel California comes into mind where they play 2 minutes out. But he does this really joyous, beautiful pedal steel on a 6/8 feel. There's just something about that song. I don't think I hardly ever walk on stage without playing that somewhere. And it still has this feeling, you know, and I can't even explain that, but there's just that kind of thing. So I love that song. I love The Shape I'm In. The Shape I'm In for me, you know, is really a half-eaten sandwich, right? It should have it never had the second line chorus. It's a one-line chorus. And you know yourself, you always want a couplet, you know, you want to do that because that's kind of a wacky thing and it works. And once again, the groove is really good. It's kind of like mixing reggae with rock. And we've found this thing, you know, that really belonged to Jojo Zep and the Falcons, you know, Hit and Run and that. About 4 or 5 songs really kind of cemented that feeling.
Yeah.
And there's something about playing those 2 songs, even when I'm playing them with the Sorrows. And the reason why I play them with the Sorrows is because the band love the songs.
Yeah,
it's kind of wacky, isn't it? But, you know, there's a few, there's a lot of songs that I like that slip through the net.
Yeah.
You know, like on St. George's Road for me, what I like, the songs that I like aren't the songs necessarily that are being picked up by, you know, the consciousness of the general public or the critics. You know, there's just things that I like about certain subject matter, you know. So there's a song called Holy Man, and I kind of like the idea behind Holy Man. I love the song St. George's Road because it deals with loss and pays homage to the departed.
And it's sad, isn't it? Like it actually, like if you know the feeling that a song like that evokes is quite.
And we all go through it.
Yeah.
You know, we all have to go through it.
Yeah. Well, it takes you there.
And it gives you this really, but we're also celebrating their life. You know. You know, the first thing I did on Father's Day is, you know, wish my father, just gave him a, you know, hey, get off my shoulder, will you? Get off, you know. But, you know, or whatever the days may be, you know. So you do play, you're paying also a wonderful tribute, you know. So there are things like that that I really enjoy, and I can deal with, you know, and there are songs that are well written, you know, where you write a song and you say, well, that's kind of, Harley and Rose is a good example of that. It tells a pretty good tale really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard thing for any songwriter.
You bet. Is
to, you know, have a start, middle, and an end, and there is a start, middle, and an end, you know, like...
have that story progressing by the second verse, which got to be by minute 10 or whatever,
yeah, you know, if you're just writing about tits and ass, it's a little bit easier, you know, on something, because it's smoke and mirrors. There's a certain kind of distortion in music, you know, which we all love, you know. But, and the really good ones, you know, top of the list, of course, is Dylan, you know. He can pull that together in such a way that it's kind of mind-boggling, you know. Then everybody's underneath it.
I want to ask you about old. What colour? You got to choose a colour.
I choose green. Excuse me.
I want to ask you about older singers because you don't seem to have lost anything, and you seem a lot of more notable examples like your say a Paul Stanley or a John Bon Jovi or even a Bono or whatever, you know. No disrespect to the fans of those bands, of course, but they're singers. They're singers who in their 60s and even 70s now really fell to bits, right? Vocally, they fell to bits. Whereas some singers managed to hold on to it. Now, I've had the good fortune of seeing you sing a lot. I did a gig with you as recently as this year, which is saying something. We haven't done many gigs. You, if anything vocally, it seems like you're getting better. Is that true? And if so, what's the secret?
Well, I don't know if I am. I just think I'm more determined to be the best I can be. Sometimes, you know, I may be guilty of not worrying about that and thinking that being elastic is kind of more important than something else. I think I've learned how to work in the studio a little bit more.
Right. But you're still, you know, and I mean, not that you were doing John Bon Jovi notes probably in the 80s anyway, but you're hitting your notes, and you are still with real gusto, and a lot of singers at 60s or 70s are not. I guess what I'm fishing for, Joe, is that young blokes like me who might want to still hit some notes in 20 or 30 years, whether there's a tip or not.
But am I? You know, I don't know if I am.
Your range hasn't decreased.
I think the I don't know about that. I think playing the saxophone every day has helped me.
Okay.
I think that, you know, I religiously do that.
Do you?
Yeah.
And is that because you dig it?
I love it. But what I've learned, I'm self-taught, right? So
Yeah.
I picked up, like everything I've done in life, the saxophone was an accident. All right? I was playing the harmonica, thought the saxophone was going to be sort of similar. You just pick it up and suck and blow, and away you go, you know. Didn't turn out that way. There was a little bit more intricate than that, the saxophone.
Okay.
There was 12 keys you had to deal with. And it wasn't in the key of, you know, it was in a funny key. It was in a flat key, you know, E flat or B flat. And so what I learned from playing the saxophone, I didn't know anything about the saxophone. And I know very little about it. I know a lot about people play the saxophone. But what I played in the bands that I played was what sounded good with the song that I was playing, right? So I was playing in the song and using my ear.
Which I think
Yeah.
a lot will argue is a better way to learn anyway, isn't it? I
Well,
mean, that's the more
it
rock and
kind of
roll way to
is.
learn. You're going by feel and you're
Yeah,
going by
you
ear rather
do
than...
that, but you're always going to hit a brick wall. Somewhere down the track, someone's going to give you something that you can't deal with,
Sure.
right? I've had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And lashings of that. But so what I did during the lockdown was I thought, okay, I'm going to learn to read just lead sheets, you know, just one pages, you know. So I got the American Songbook, and I said, I'm going to learn how to play inside the songs, you know. Now, I'm not sure if that's helped me hear better, so I'm creating better melodies. Or is it that thing about the want? You know, the will is kind of really strong. If you want to live, you're going to live. You know, if you want to do something, you're going to get close to it. You know, I'm really frustrated. You know, I'm frustrated as a singer. You know,
Right.
I don't call myself a singer. You know, just kind of. I just if I don't sing the songs, no one else is going to sing the songs.
If you want a job done...
Well, I've got a beast that I've got to feed, you know. And here's the other really nice thing for me, and I've always followed this mantra, you know, don't be what you were yesterday. Try to be what you are, you know, in the now and tomorrow. You know, I can't write Chain to the Wheel again. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I want to, you know, I don't want to write The Son of Harley and Rose. I just don't want to do it. I want to find another way of getting to a result that makes whatever the song is timeless. That's the kind of, there's the real beauty. You know, Cole Porter, beautiful, you know, timeless. That's kind of what you want. You want to feel, you want to walk the streets, you want to feel, you know, dare I say, cool, you know, if that's a thing. You know, you want to feel good in your skin. You want to know who you are. You know all your faults. I know everything. You know, the reason I never play the records, I know every note on all the records. You know, I know where it fails. I know where this record fails for me as a singer. You know, but it's just a document. And what live performance gives you is an opportunity to sort of make that song breathe again, you know.
I want to finish on a story. I think you'll go, by the way.
Well, there you go.
I don't know whether you even remember this, and probably the punchline of this story is that you're actually not just a legend, you're a good fella. But when I was last signed and I was doing, I was getting a single, and I hadn't really done anything. and I didn't have any endorsement or anything like that. I didn't have a good guitar to record with, and you lent me your guitar
Okay.
so I could go into the studio and record. And that song went on to become it was the highest-selling independent release in
Wonderful.
Australia that year, and it was the most added song to radio. The point is this: even with my minuscule contribution to the Australian music industry, you even had a hand in that, Joe.
You know, well, you know, that's beautiful. What a lovely little story.
Yeah.
And it probably had to do with finance, though, didn't it?
No, I don't think so.
No,
Yeah.
I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
Well, Sweet Prince.
Sweet Prince. Joey, it's always good to hang out with you. I think it's
Pleasure,
1-1.
No, it's 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah,
Thanks for hanging out on All Fun and Games,
A little bit
mate.
of this,
Yeah.
a little bit of that. Santa Maria. Thank you, sir.
Good on you, brother.